Audio check, 1, 2, 3, audio check. Audio check, audio check. Okay, seems like we're getting nothing. Unless my audio is turned off on this tab. Yeah. There we go.
Okay, seems like
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. Before we get into things tonight, I just want to say that condolences obviously to the family of Kodalungu. They've just lost a family member, so obviously it's a real shame we haven't got Kodalungu here tonight, but all the best to him and his family, and we hope to have him back on track next week. But just want to start off by saying obviously condolences to him and to his family. But we're here at Laguna Seca for the 11th round of the GT4 Championship here at Motive on PlayStation 4 and 5. We've got 11 cars out on the track tonight, including a reappearance, a very special guest here, Emo Guy, out on track tonight, driving a car that I haven't seen him driving in before, the Aston Martin number 666. Well, we've seen him in that number before, but the Aston Martin is something we've never seen Emo Guy in before, so that's going to be an exciting one. So great to see Ian back on track. It's been a while here since we've seen him on the PlayStation here at Motive, so great stuff here. Obviously a regular racer on the PC platform on ACC, so it's good to see him making his return to the PlayStation. But it's currently Xander Flanders setting the pace here tonight on a 1 minute 31.6. He's got just a couple of tenths of a second back to Freeman and Marty Road Racing, the two team run DJC boys in the BMWs. Those two separated by 3,000ths of a second right now in second and third places. You've got Cordeo sat in fourth place in the other BMW just behind him at the moment. Pretty close order though, only half a second separating the top five. John Duke there in fifth, just behind Cordeo in the standings on that leaderboard. You've got Duke Martin in sixth, sat in the pits at the moment. Choose Monkey, the championship leader, down in P7 tonight so far, so reading up the nights. We know he's feeling a little bit under the weather. He's been saying in the build up to this that he's not feeling anywhere near his best, so fair play to him for coming out tonight. This could be another big night for Freeman in the point standings. This could be another opportunity for him to really close that gap at the top. But Cheese Monkey still got a pretty healthy lead. 58 points is his championship gap coming into tonight, so we'll see what he can do here. But Windsor in 8th in this qualifying session. You've got Emo Guy there in 9th. He's just coming out of his pit box now. P10 for Nilsson, and Snooky down in P11. Currently the lowest runner of those two are putting lap times. We're missing a few drivers here tonight, unfortunately. As we said previously, Kodalungu not able to be here due to a family matter, so obviously we're wishing all the best from everybody here at Motive Racing, and obviously that's what most heartbreaking circumstances you can possibly have. But Kodalungu not here. We're also missing Pete Bibb's not here either, and I think there's a couple of other guys who couldn't make it tonight. We know that King Queen couldn't make it as he's covering the late shift at work, so there's a few guys not here tonight, but yeah, nonetheless I'm sure we'll get a good race. So we've got an extra driver tonight, Emo Guy, so that should be an exciting one. Got JR in the comments here, says let's go Freeman and Marty, RIP to Cod's family member. I hope the team run DJC boys smash it tonight. Absolutely, JR. Let's hope that they can give a good account of themselves, as Marty's gone P1 in this qualifying session by just under 2/10 of a second so far. We got Auto Butcher says, evening all, welcome along mate, good to have you with us. Big Cheese Monkey fan is Auto Butcher. We'll be aware that Cheese Monkey's not feeling too great tonight. He's feeling a little bit under the weather, so we'll see what he can get up to tonight, but we're not expecting the best performance from Cheese Monkey by what we've heard in the build up to this. JR says, can hear you but the background pitch is high. Yeah, no, I had the tab muted, that was why. Lightblade says, let's go team run DJC, Freeman won't give up. Oh, that's for sure. Freeman will keep pushing all the way until the end of this series, and he won't stop pushing until he knows for sure that he can't win the championship. But at this stage it could still be a little bit open. 58 points we know is the gap between the two of them. If Freeman were to win the race, he would get if Cheese Monkey were to come 7th, Freeman would gain 28 points on him. So the championship's certainly not over until it's over, and he just needs to keep chipping away, keep making them little gains, and who knows what could happen by the time we get to the end of the season. But we've got 9 people watching the stream at the moment, guys. If you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to get involved in the on-track action, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com as well. That's where you can get your free ticket to some of the fastest, cleanest sim racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione or on Project Cars 2 or F1 2021, whatever floats your boat. We've got it all here on the PlayStation platform, one of the most concentrated PlayStation sim racing platforms around, if I may say so myself. We've got leagues practically every night on one game or another. The only nights we don't run are Thursday and what's the other day we don't run? Tuesday. So Tuesday and Thursday we don't run, but every other night of the week we run. So if you play on ACC, Project Cars or F1, definitely come over and have a look. But we've got the comments coming in thick and fast right now. Lightblade, JR, Auto Butcher all chiming in here tonight. Great to see some of our regulars out here. Lightblade says, any news on the new GT3 Championship? Not at the moment, Lightblade. In fact, it's not even confirmed yet, but I imagine that we'll at least be getting one vote from yourself, but it will either be on Friday or Saturday night. Well, no, we're going to have 2 new leagues on Fridays and Saturdays, but what the league's going to be is not confirmed yet. So obviously GT Cup will be one of the options in the vote, but it'll be down to the drivers to actually decide what they want. So make sure that when that goes live that you jump straight on that like a rat up a drain pipe, as otherwise you won't get the opportunity to put your 2 cents in. But we'll obviously be pinging everybody. We'll be putting out an announcement when that vote goes out, and people will be able to decide what they want those leagues on a Friday and a Saturday to be. We're currently watching a provisional pole sitter here, Marty Road Racing, coming into the final corner. He's got 3/10 at the moment over his Team Run DJC teammate Freeman, who comes over the line. No, Freeman just goes top of the leaderboard there. What a lovely lap from Freeman. He's been saying in the build up to this that he's able to do 1:29s. That would be pretty alien there if he was able to do that. But Freeman there, 1:31.1 from him, so a very strong time indeed there from Freeman, really setting down a benchmark at the moment. I'm just going to have a look actually. I'm just going to try and find what the pole time was the last time that we raced here at Laguna, here at Motive. If I can find that out, that would be pretty cool. Big shout out to Emo Guy here, jumping in tonight as a very late stand-in. He's currently sat in P7 at the moment on the leaderboard, so very, very impressive stuff there from Emo Guy. Last time we raced in the GT4s at Laguna was season 1. Wow, really? It's obviously season 3 of the GT4s, but season 1, that's a long time ago, gotta say. Let's have a look, see who won first of all. Who won the race? Probably Javier Ranz. He won practically every race season 1. Yeah, he did. Although Freeman was second to him, so Freeman came P2 that night, Emo Guy third. Let's Emo Guy obviously out here tonight, but let's see what the pole time was from the last time that we raced here. As Freeman's been saying he could do 1:29s. Let's see if Javier Ranz did that the last time. Probably did a 1:28 knowing him. Let's have a look. Oh my, do you know what? I think the stream died before the end of the qualifying the last time that we raced here, so I don't know. Let me just have a little look. 1:30.0 was the fastest time by Javier Ranz. Interestingly, Freeman is 4/10 slower than he was 2 seasons ago here in these GT4s, so it seems like Javier Ranz just pushed Freeman that extra mile and got him to really extract the absolute maximum that he could out of the car, because he's actually 4/10 slower than he was a couple of seasons ago, but he still gets pole for the time being. Almost 4/10 over Marty Road Racing. Xander Van der Third. I think you've also got to take into account that this is the 2020 tracks, and I think back then we were racing on the 2019 tracks maybe. I'm not 100%. I think maybe last time it was the 2019, so that could be the reason why the times are a little bit off of what we saw a couple of seasons ago, because I think most of these guys for the most part have improved since then. They haven't got worse, so that could explain that one. But we got Lightblade saying, when will the vote take place? Probably the next week or so, next week or two it will be, Lightblade. Auto Butcher says, I'm Cheese Senior, brought the boy into the world, and if he doesn't win this championship I'll take him out of the world. I never knew that Auto Butcher was Cheese Monkey's dad. Fair play. Now I can understand the support that comes in from you during the streams now. Well, your boy's doing you proud. Obviously he's the reigning champion of the GT4s. He's done a time good enough for P5 at the end of this session as well, so nicely done there from Cheese Monkey. He's got himself up the order a little bit. This looks like somebody's trying to join the session there at the bottom in a number 43 Ferrari, so hopefully wherever it is manages to get in and we do get that 12 car out on the grid. I didn't, well, that's a bit weird, but Yeah, I didn't. Wasn't aware that there was a Ferrari. Wow. Okay. Anyway, but we got. Like it says, the game physics have changed since then. Yeah, no, they have. You're right, and the balance of power has also been adjusted a little bit, which has definitely caused the times to drop off ever so slightly since then. Evil Scotsman, otherwise known as Emo Guy, says I ain't doing the best since ACC on the PS4 is different than the PC. Yeah, the frame rates per second are definitely going to be catching you out a little bit there, mate. I don't blame you on that. That's what I was thinking, like, mate. I was trying to put the pieces together, and I was trying to understand. I was like, I don't want to make a fool of myself here, but I'm pretty sure there isn't a GT4 Ferrari. That's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it. But now you've said it, I can say that with confidence. Yeah, there shouldn't be a Ferrari joining this lobby, as there is no GT4 Ferrari. I don't know what's going on there, but nonetheless, looks like Freeman's going to be on pole for this one, with Marty Road Racing lining up alongside him on the front row. Team Run DJC locking out the front row. Great to see. You got Xander Flander in third with Crodeo fourth, Cheese Monkey in fifth, followed by John Jig sixth, and Emo Guy in P7, followed by Duke Martin, Windsor, Nilsson completing the top 10, and Snooky around out the field in 11th. And I think that is going to be our field for tonight, by the looks of it. As here we are lining up on the grid, getting ready to go for the 11th round of the GT4 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione Automotive Racing on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5s. As I said before, guys, if you like what you see, then be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. If you're watching for the first time, absolutely do that. If you are a regular and you're chiming in or watching us for the millionth time, then also drop a like. But let us know you're watching, tell us who you are, tell us who you're supporting, who do you think is going to win tonight. We've got a couple of drivers who are actually out on track chiming in on the stream. We got obviously Evil Scotsman, Emo Guy starting in P7 in this one. Will be improving as this race goes on, I'm pretty sure of that, as he's jumped in as a reasonably late stand-in for tonight. JR says hashtag team, obviously in reference to Team Run DJC, looking to try and do Codlungu proud tonight. As we said before, obviously absent from tonight's race due to a loss in the family, so Codlungu, if you're watching, or if you do watch this back, obviously major condolences to you and to your family, and I hope that you're obviously feeling mentally better as soon as possible. But you know, nothing can make you feel too much better at a time like this. We hope that you're obviously coping, and hope to see you back as soon as possible. But it's the teammates, Freeman and Marty, lining up on the front row, making Team Run DJC proud, and absolutely JR there in the comments saying hashtag team, very much getting in behind these guys. Hopefully they can do them proud tonight. But we got 40 seconds until the start of the formation lap. Freeman also in the championship battle, let's not forget that. Freeman is going to be trying to close that gap to Cheese Monkey in the points. There's 58 points between them coming into this round, so he's got a lot of work to do, but he's chipping away at that gap, and hopefully for him he'll be able to keep that battle going all the way into the final round of the season. Cheese Monkey though did the 5th fastest time there in the qualifying session, so he's not too far off. So as it stands, Freeman would be gaining around 20 points on his championship rival, which would be enough to take it to a decider, but realistically it would be a very, very difficult task to keep that championship going all the way to the final lap of the final race of the season next week at Kyle Army. But here we go then, we're just about to go for the formation lap, as the drivers are just, well, they've dialed in the final setup changes now, and they're pulling off the line now, getting ready to get going. Lightblade says this is more tense than Max versus Lewis. Well, to be honest, Lightblade, it's more or less a foregone conclusion. I mean, Cheese Monkey would have to have an absolute mare tonight. He would have to really mess up quite badly for Freeman to realistically be able to take this title. I think that Cheese Monkey needs to get the points in the bag, needs to keep consistent. He was saying earlier on today he wasn't even sure if he could make it, and honestly that would have been music to the Team Run DJC boys' ears, as they would have been seeing that and thinking, well, this could potentially be an opportunity to really close the gap. But I wonder now whether Cheese Monkey might have just sold him a bit of a dud there, maybe wanted Freeman to just ease off in his practice and take it a little bit easy, and maybe him showing up at the 11th hour here has possibly just bamboozled them a little bit. I wonder if maybe he was just trying to play a little bit of a decoy there with what he said earlier on this afternoon. We'll never know really the answer to that, but we just got to wait and see. what he can do here. Feeling under the weather, as we said, regardless of whether or not he was going to turn up or not. I believe he probably is feeling under the weather, but whether or not he can just work, just push, just break through that barrier and try and deliver a great performance. Anyway, Lightblade says it's never over till it's over. Absolutely, Lightblade, I've got to agree with that. You can never know what's going to happen until the fat lady has sung and she's not quite warming up just yet. I'd say there's still plenty more action to see here in this season. We're going to have 2 hours of on-track racing still to go. We're 10 hours in with 2 hours left, with 2 races obviously, and each race 1 hour. Next season we're going to be having a couple of extra long races here in this GT4 campaign. There'll be a couple of 90-minute races thrown into the mix. Rounds 3, 6 and 9 I believe it will be a little bit extra distance, and possibly extra points as well. I'm hearing maybe extra points. I'm not 100% sure, unconfirmed on that one. Auto Butcher says only came on here to support the boy last season, stayed because it's a good laugh with great racing. His team colours and number are family heirlooms handed down from my long gone race days. Oh, wow, former racer here. He's the son of a former racing driver, is Cheese Monkey. Didn't know that about you. Well, he's certainly got the right support. He's got somebody who knows what he's talking about there in his camp, on his team radio, chiming in on the YouTube streams. Be cool if you sat in the room with him. Actually, I don't know. That'd be pretty interesting dynamic there, in terms of the a race engineer as your dad type, if dad is your race engineer type of thing. But here we come up towards the line anyway. It's about to start round 11 of the GT4s here at Motive on ACC. And it is green. We are underway here for the penultimate round of the season. Freeman gets a good bite off the line. A flash the lights there from Marty. Not happy there with, oh no, not from Marty, from Xander Flander even. As Xander Flander, no, it wasn't Xander Flander, it was Quideo. Quideo around the outside there, up into 3rd place. Can he get 2 moves done here at the start of this race? Quideo's going to try and go around the outside of Marty. Road racing here, look at this. Marty gets a slightly sketchy exit out of turn 1, and he's got a couple of drivers here looking to his inside, but Marty there almost losing out to Quideo. I think Quideo's going to get this move done coming up towards turn 3. He does there. So Quideo up into P2. Marty losing out here down to 3rd place with Xander Flander just behind him at the moment. But it's Freeman, Quideo, Marty road racing, Xander Flander, John Duke the top 5. Emo guys got ahead of Duke Martin up into 6th place, and Windsor there in 8th place with Snooky, Nilsson and Cheese Monkey. What's happened to the championship leader? Oh my goodness me, Cheese Monkey's down to the back here at the start of this race. Completely missed that. Oh my goodness me. Well, he's just got up the inside there of Nilsson up into 10th place, but a disaster of a start here for Cheese Monkey. That could not have gone much worse, as Nilsson's back down his inside there. Has he got damage here at the start of this race? This has just thrown the championship a little bit up into the air, but he's got plenty of time to bring himself back into this race. Has he got damage, and if so, how much? And how much is it going to compromise him in this first stint? We know he's not feeling too well tonight, is Cheese Monkey. How is this going to work for him here? Auto Butcher says test Cheese after the race. He's off his head on Lemsic. Oh dear, we're going to have to do a little drugs test there after that, see if there's any peds involved. But Freeman out of the last corner leads the race by a second over Quideo at the moment. Guitar Rich says hey all, welcome along Guitar Rich, good to see you in the comments. We've got Lightblades there, says Auto Butcher, your son is a class act, good luck to both the championship protagonists. Absolutely, Lightblade, couldn't agree more on that one. But the reigning champ has got his work cut out here. He's going to have to drive like a true champion here in this race if he is to pick up some good points here tonight. He's picked off Nilsson now up into 10th place. He's got a couple of seconds back to Snooky. Cheese Monkey though, with everything going against him tonight, obviously not feeling too good, debated as to whether he was even going to be racing tonight. Eventually turned out, managed to do a time good enough for P5 in the qualifying session, but doing a good time in qualifying when you're feeling under the weather is a completely different story from being able to drive a whole race when you're feeling like absolute, basically driving 1 hour of a GT4 car on a simulator game. It's going to be a real test for him. I tell you what, he's not going to be, if he's feeling bad, if he's feeling ill before the start of this race, how he's feeling after it is just going to be, you know, this isn't even going to come close. But Cheese Monkey at the moment has just got to get his head down and kind of like try and block that out if he can and get on with it, because he's got points to gain here tonight. But Freeman out the front, his championship rival, really chipping away and currently leading this race by over a second, so he's got a comfortable gap out the front over Quideo as it stands. Marty there in 3rd place just behind Quideo. He's got a second back to Xander Flander. John Jig there in 5th. Emo guys dropped off at the back of the top 5 a little bit, although having said that, he seems to have reeled them in a little bit over the course of this middle sector here. He's now closing right up onto the back of John Jig here. Duke Martin driving a really strong race here in this one, not dropping off of the leaders, keeping tabs with them at the moment, so it's good showing from Duke Martin in the number 6 Aston Martin. Wins it in 8th. It's got Snooky trying to defend from Cheese Monkey. Cheese Monkey's going to have to run coming down the start finish straight. The thing is though, Cheese Monkey, this couldn't really have gone much worse for him tonight, because driving in that Ginetta, it's one of the worst cars for overtaking you're ever going to see in the GT4s. In fact, it is the slowest car in a straight line by a country mile in this class. It's so quick through the corners, but I just don't know where he's going to be able to get these overtakes done. Dropping down to P10 in this race could not have been, it could not have been in a worse car for this to have happened to him, but he's currently trying to get around Snooky. This is the part of the track where the Ginetta really does excel. If he can get good traction out of some of these corners, he might be able to get a run here. Here we go, he's going to look to the inside now. Good move there from Cheese Monkey, throws it down the inside, hugs the curve a little bit, but Snooky manages to keep it around the outside there, and Cheese Monkey not able to get it into 9th place. I thought he had that done there, but Snooky getting his elbows out, and Cheese Monkey not managing to get himself into P9 for the time being. But Snooky's gone wide coming through that corner there, but the thing is, it doesn't matter how much of a good drive Cheese Monkey gets out of the corner, Snooky's just got so much more power and straight line speed, and these parts of the track, that Mercedes is just going to absolutely leave the Ginetta. But the Ginetta is going to have to run here coming up the hill. Once again though, once that Merc gets up to speed, it waves him through. Snooky waves him through. Very, very gentlemanly driving there from Snooky. Let's Cheese Monkey pick up that P9, and Cheese Monkey's just got onto a bit of a winner there, because Snooky made that very easy for him indeed. So he's lucky there, but he gets up into 9th place. Freeman still leading this race by 1.7. He's putting out the gap. Quideo there in 2nd place has got Marty all over the back of him now, and Marty's going to make this move coming down the start finish straight there, side by side down the hill. Quideo tucks into the slipstream. Marty gets that done coming up towards turn 1. Can Quideo try and come back at him? No, he doesn't. Tucks in, and that is 2nd place done for Marty, but Quideo's still attacking him on the exit of turn 1. Can't do anything there. Marty has got the move well and truly done there up into 2nd. Xanafander there in 4th. John Jig 5th. There's Emo Guy challenging the back of John Jig, trying to hassle him into a mistake if he can. Duke Martin keeping tabs for these guys, not dropping off of the leaders, driving a really strong race at the moment. If Duke Martin not far off of a podium at all. You got Windsor there a long way behind in 8th place. Cheese Monkey keeping on to Windsor. He's closing that gap. Snooky hasn't fallen off for Cheese Monkey since Cheese Monkey got ahead of him on the previous lap, so at the moment Cheese Monkey's still getting the times in and still getting the laps down, but Windsor very much a match for him, and Snooky not dropping off. With Nilsson there in 11th place, not having the race tonight here at Laguna Seca. Freeman leads by almost 3 seconds now. He's continuing to really put the gap between himself and Marty. Marty obviously had to make the move on Quideo at the start of this lap, so he was a little bit compromised at the beginning of the lap, but can he now start to get the sector times in and bring the gap down to Freeman? That's the big question over the course of this race. And Lightblade says Cheese Monkey needs to keep his head calm now. This is where it could all go wrong. J.Arson, only a small track. He will be back in the top 5 in no time. Lightblade saying Snooky and Windsor are teammates. Yes, they are, I believe. Yeah, both driving in the Mercs. They're running the same livery. I believe they are teammates. JR says, I'm surprised they're racing him, to be honest. Well... Oh, hold on. Windsor's lost out here. Windsor's now behind Snooky. So Cheese Monkey's got ahead of Windsor, and Snooky's followed him through there. So Cheese Monkey now in 8th place. JR was saying before he'll be back in the top 5 in no time. But the thing is, the drivers up ahead of him are really starting to drive away. Cheese Monkey, in the time that it's taken him to get ahead of Nilsson, Windsor and Snooky, is now over 10 seconds behind the top 7. The top 7 are really blazing a trail out the front, but he's got work to do over the course of this race. It'd be no mean feat for him to bring that gap down. I'd have to say this is going to be borderline on impossible for him to get in the top 5 here tonight. JR making a very bold prediction now. I don't know whether that's going to be possible, but at the moment Freeman making the most of this clear run that he's got out the front. Quideo, since getting passed by Marty, has now got Xanafander pulling up onto the back of him a little bit. John Jig's still got just under a second at the moment to Emo Guy, but lots of battles going on throughout the pack, lots of close calls between these drivers. We've got 15 people watching on the stream right now. Guys, if you like what you see, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel, and if you want to get involved, go to www.motiveracing.com. We're coming towards the back end of the current season that we're in at the moment, but we'll obviously be running leagues next year as well, so we'll be starting out with we'll be running probably something on Monday. I don't know what yet, to be fair, but we'll try and run something on Monday. In terms of ACC, we'll be running Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Project Cars leagues will be running through the weekend as well. We'll try and put a few extra weekday leagues in, maybe on Project Cars as well. And obviously we run F1 on Friday night at 6:45. I also commentate on another league called Excel, which we stream to this channel, to the Motive Racing channel, a league called Excel Racing League, which run on Wednesdays, Sundays and Mondays, but I don't commentate the Sundays. I only commentate on the Mondays and the Wednesdays. But At the moment, we're watching lots of battles going on here. We've got Marty still with Credeo and Zanderfander on the back of him. Credeo's certainly not giving up in this battle for second place since Marty got the move done in him a couple of laps ago. Zanderfander's now really joining that battle. John Jig's starting to drop off for this battle for the podium spots a little bit. Emo Guy's really... Well, having said that, he was closing on John Jig, but he must have made a mistake coming through the first sector there, because Emo Guy's dropped off of John Jig, and it's now got Duke Martin pretty close to him, 0.6 of a second separating those two at this point in the race. Freeman still leads by almost 4 seconds at the moment over Marty Road Racing, as Cheese Monkey started to bring the gap down a little bit to Duke Martin. The gap now 9.3. So Cheese Monkey over the last lap or so has gained about half a second on Duke Martin. He'll want to continue to put in that sort of comeback here in this race, and if he can keep up that sort of pace, then who knows what he might be able to get out of this race. But depends on how many laps we got here at Laguna, really, because it's a timed race obviously, so there's no limit on laps. It's whenever the clock hits 0, that's when the race will be over. But Cheese Monkey not feeling the best tonight. We're hearing he's high on Lemsip, so he'll be obviously feeling a little bit of a watered down version of the pain that he was in earlier on, but nonetheless I'm sure that the suffering is you know, nothing to be sniffed at here. Emo Guido still in P6, has got Duke Martin within 0.6 of a second of him at the moment. Credeo's dropped off at the back of Marty a little bit over the course of the last lap or so. He's still got Zanderfander pretty close in contention. John Jig started to reel these guys back in after he dropped off for them a couple of laps ago. Emo Guy's still got heavy pressure from Duke Martin here. These guys separated by 0.6 of a second, as Cheese Monkey took another half a second out of Duke Martin on that previous lap. So Cheese Monkey starting to reel these guys in out the front. Duke Martin still trying to pressure Emo Guy, and Zanderfander within 0.4 of a second off Credeo in the battle for the final podium spots. Freeman still leads the race by almost 4.5 seconds now. He's just been gradually building up that gap since the start. Freeman in the last few races that we've seen him in has won them each of the last 2 races that he's raced in dominant fashion. He obviously raced at Silverstone in round 8 and absolutely ran off with that one. Was feeling under the weather for the 9th round of the season, and so he didn't turn up for that one, which is obviously a massive blow to his championship. And then last week we had round 10 at Imola. He won that one in emphatic fashion. So the last couple of races that he's been in, he's absolutely run away with, and he looks like he's going to be he looks like he's in similar form tonight. But the problem is he's left himself with too much to do. With his no show a couple of weeks ago, it's really given Cheese Monkey a big lead in the championship, and Cheese Monkey's still chipping away at the gap to Duke Martin. The gap now 8.1, so Cheese Monkey is really gaining on Emo Guy and Duke Martin at the moment. Zanderfander still within half a second of Credeo, although he's dropped off him a little bit over the course of that final sector there. Credeo's now got over a second back to Zanderfander. Emo Guys managed to gap Duke Martin a little bit. The gap was a fraction of a second a moment ago. It's now 1.1, so Emo Guys gained a little bit of time over Duke Martin coming through that final sector there. These two got 7 seconds back to Cheese Monkey running in 8th place. There's Snooky in 9th. He's dropped off by 6 seconds now behind Cheese Monkey. Snooky in turn has gapped Windsor a little bit, and it's now 5 seconds between those two. Nilsson now starting to reel in Windsor a bit, only 2 seconds separating those two in the battle for the final podium spot. Zanderfander's gained 0.3 on Credeo coming through the first sector there. Those two looking pretty close. Duke Martin's gained a couple of tenths on Emo Guy through the first sector. The gap now under a second between those two, both sharing the same manufacturer, obviously both driving the Aston Martin. Duke Martin in the number 6, Emo Guy the treble 6, but these two looking to be having a pretty good battle here in the opening exchanges of this race. Freeman still leads by 5 seconds. He's continuing to put out the gap to Marty. Fastest man out on track at the moment is our race leader. The gap between Credeo and Zanderfander staying around the same, still about 0.7 of a second at the moment, as Nilsson's continuing to reel in Windsor. Less than a second now separating those two. 1.8 is the gap, as the gap between Emo Guy and Duke Martin's gone up by a couple of tenths there coming through the middle sector. Emo Guy seems to be quicker through the middle and the final sectors, and in the first sector Duke Martin just reels him in a little bit. Those two clearly with slightly different setups on those Aston Martins, causing different ways of handling for the cars for sure. John Jig's still reasonably close to the back of Credeo, and Zanderfander still reeling them in ever so slightly. Zanderfander is now putting heavy pressure on Credeo coming up towards turn 1. Can Credeo hold it? Oh, Zanderfander goes for the move up the inside. He goes deep into the corner though, and he's going to have to he'll concede that position straight back as Credeo gets the cut back beautifully there. Saw that coming from a mile off, and Credeo holds on to that 3rd place for the time being. That was a close call there. I've got to say, if I was Credeo in that situation, I would have just done a little pop. you know, not that's inappropriate, sorry, but Cordero there holding on to that P3. Nonetheless, they've got Jonjic now hunting them down. He gained half a second on them just through that one corner alone. Duke Martin within 7/10 of a second of Emo Guy at the moment. That battle's still going on here as they're giving it everything they possibly have. Freeman has the lead by over 5 seconds over Marty. 2.5 seconds back to Cordero, and Xander Fandon are really close on the back of Cordero at the moment. Jonjic's still waiting in the wings, hoping to pounce, hoping to get involved in that action. Emo Guy there's gapped Duke Martin a little bit over the course of that first sector. That looks like it's definitely more than 7/10 of a second now between those two as they're coming up the hill towards the corkscrew. Cheese Monkey, let's see what the gap is between Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey. It's now just under 7 seconds between those two, so Cheese Monkey continuing to gain at about half a second a lap. So that's about the amount that he's gaining there on the two up ahead of him, Emo Guy and Duke Martin. I reckon Cheese Monkey could get up to I reckon he could quite feasibly get a top 6 here in this race. He's not too far off of Emo Guy and Duke Martin. He's currently 8 seconds off of P6. The pit window could be crucial for Cheese Monkey in his race tonight. We know he's not feeling too good, so let's hope that he's got the endurance to keep himself focused all the way to the flag. As his dad Auto Butcher said in the comments, he's high on Lemsip tonight, so that may obviously be helping him at the moment, but whether it will be helping towards the end of the race, we'll have to see. As Xander Flanders made the move on Cordero here up into 3rd place. Let's see if he's managed to make that stick, or is Cordero still on him as they're coming through the first sector checkpoint. No, Xander Flanders got that move done there up into 3rd place. Jonjic now really close on the back of these guys coming up towards turn 5. Emo Guy's managed to keep that gap of around a second to Duke Martin, so he's got a reasonable cushion here. Looks like he's pretty comfortable there in that 6th position at the moment. Freeman though continues to do the business out the front. He's keeping that gap at around 5 seconds over Marty Road Racing. Xander Flanders still hasn't shaken off Cordero, having made that move at the beginning of this lap up into 3rd place. Cordero still keeping tabs at him up towards the corkscrew. Jonjic's now well and truly in this battle for the final podium spot here, and it'd be a good result if Jonjic can get himself up into that 3rd place. He's really close on the back of these guys. Jonjic seems to be a victim of the worst possible luck you could ever imagine here in this GT4 championship here at Motive, so he'll be looking to try and turn those tables and get himself a bit of luck here in this penultimate round of the season, as he's got 2 drivers who have been consistently up there or thereabouts in basically every race this season, and he's got them just in front of him, so he'll be looking to try and maybe upset that balance a little bit for those two running in 3rd and 4th places. Freeman's got the gap up to over 6 seconds to Marty Road Racing. He's continuing to extend that as well. The light blade there says Jonjic Defo, the livery of the field. Yeah, I've loved that livery. It looks absolutely brilliant, doesn't it? That is a beautiful livery there on that Merc for Jonjic. You've got light blade there says Emo Guy being Team DJC won't make it easy. That's a really good point actually there. You make a very strong point there, Lightblade. You know what, I hadn't even thought of that, because it's been such a long time since Emo Guy has raced here at Motive that it kind of like escaped my mind that he was even in Team Run DJC, but obviously he is a member of Team Run DJC. I should know this. I mean, Emo Guy is actually my mate, so I should know this, but obviously anyway, sorry Ian, sorry, I do know you, I promise, but right now gap between Emo Guy and Duke Martin just about under a second here, so these two could put on a great show, but as we said before, as Lightblade pointed out, once Cheese Monkey gets onto the back of Emo Guy I'm sure will be highly motivated to delay him as much as humanly possible. Emo Guy 6 seconds off of the back of Jonjic, and Cheese Monkey 6 seconds off of the back of Emo Guy, so right now Cheese Monkey is about 12 seconds off of the back of 5th place in this race, so I don't know, I reckon 6th is probably going to be possible for Cheese Monkey, but you never know what sort of a fight Emo Guy is going to put up. Emo Guy is one of those drivers, I'll tell you this now, he's one of those drivers who's able to, I don't mean this as this is a compliment, right? Emo Guy can punch above his weight if he's in front of you. If he's got track position over the guy behind him, he's one of those drivers who can keep a much faster driver behind him. He's very, very strategic and just, you know, he's very wily about how he defends. So if there was one driver who I think Team Run DJC would want in between them and Cheese Monkey, it would certainly be Emo Guy. He will be definitely the thorn in the side of Cheese Monkey if there was going to be one here tonight. Driving in that treble 6 Aston Martin, he's got Duke Martin still pressuring the back of him here as they're coming towards the end of the first sector here on lap 12 of the race. Freeman's gap to Marty 6.5 seconds. Marty's got a further 4 seconds back to Xander Fanda, who started to gap Cordero a little bit since getting ahead of him a couple of laps ago. Jonjic still putting the pressure here on Cordero, 8 tenths between those two. These guys, these top 5 are continuing to put away from Emo Guy and Duke Martin. and Emo Guy staying consistent. These two very consistent at the moment in 6th and 7th places. They've still got Cheese Monkey reeling them in, and Cheese Monkey now has got the gap to 5 seconds here, so he's really making gains at the moment. Is Cheese Monkey. He'll be absolutely desperate, I'm sure, to get himself in the top 5 and minimise the point swing for Freeman here tonight. But Freeman looking very, very good here at Laguna Seca. And as it stands here in this race, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a title decided the next time out at Kyalami for the final round of the season. As it stands here in this race, it's looking very much like this one's going to go down to the wire. Cheese Monkey, the reigning champion, took the championship last season in a brilliant season-long battle with Standard Control. And the first part of this season for Cheese Monkey couldn't have gone much better. He was so consistent through the first sort of 6 races. He was always up there on the podium. There's one race out of the first 8 races of this season, I think there was only one race where Cheese Monkey wasn't on the podium, and that was a 4th place. So, you know, when you consider that in, the one time he wasn't on the podium in the first 8 races was 4th. He's in the top 4 every race for the first 8 races. That's incredible consistency. But the last couple of races haven't really gone to plan like he would have wanted it to. Imola was a big blop on his copybook. P6 last time out, as we see there. Snooky in the pits, so I wonder if he's got damage there, because the pit pardon me, the pit window is not opened yet, so that will obviously hurt Snooky's race a lot, as he's not just got to come in now, but he will have to come in again after this, as it will not count as a pit stop. So that couldn't have gone really much worse there for Snooky. We're still watching Emo Guy at the moment, keeping Duke Martin at bay, 0.8 of a second between those two. Cordero's managed to gap John Jig a little bit, now over a second between those two in the battle for 4th place. They continue to drop off at the back of Xander Fanda, who's started to reel in Marty road racing a little bit now. Marty's got Xander Fanda now starting to catch him ever so slightly, as Freeman's still continuing to put out the gap to Marty. But yeah, Cheese Monkey, first 9 races of this season, he was in the top 4 in every single race. Only one of those races he wasn't in the top 4. Sorry, only one of the races he wasn't in the top 3, and that was round 4 at Suzuka. No, it wasn't Suzuka, sorry, he came second at Suzuka. It was round 3 at Bathurst, where Cheese Monkey wasn't on the podium. Every other race before last week at Imola, he ended up on the podium. But last time out he came P5, which is his worst result of the season, and probably the worst performance we've seen from Cheese Monkey last time out. It really didn't seem like the same Cheese Monkey. We know tonight he's got a big excuse, and that is the fact that he's feeling like absolute rough as hell. But he's still reeling in Emo Guy and Duke Martin at the moment. We're hearing, obviously, he's really not. He was even considering not racing tonight. That's how bad he was feeling this afternoon. So you've got to give it to the kid for turning out and still having the pace to catch up to Emo Guy and Duke Martin, who are seasoned veterans in these GT4s. No mean feat here for Cheese Monkey. But John Jig starting to skip away in 5th place. The gap he's got to John Jig still around 12 seconds, so that's been staying at around the same. He's basically matching John Jig, but he's reeling in Emo Guy and Duke Martin. So at this stage in the race, Cheese Monkey looking like he might be able to get himself in P6, but beyond that, who knows what he'll be able to get. But even then, Emo Guy is not going to be a pushover. Representing Team Run DJC tonight, Emo Guy is going to park that car in every possible spot, and not to mention Duke Martin, who's obviously in between them as well. P7, number 6 Aston Martin. Duke Martin has been up there in a few of the races, especially the wet races. Duke Martin is a driver who always seems to be very strong in the wet. In the dry conditions, he's a very solid driver as well, but the wet, he's always up there fighting for the podiums. We saw Emo Guy going a bit wide there, coming through the penultimate corner, just getting a bit of the dirt there on his tyres as he comes out of the last corner and up towards the start-finish line here to complete the 14th lap of the race. Over the line they come. Half a second between Emo Guy and Duke Martin. Cheese Monkey a further 4 seconds back there in 8th place, continuing to hunt them down here over the course of this race. First stint of the race, pit window doesn't open for another 3 minutes yet, so we'll be seeing obviously what the situation will be with the pit stops in a very short time. But at the moment, Freeman's still continuing to put out a gap. He's still got 8 seconds here over Marty road racing. Marty's maintaining the gap to Xander Fanda at the moment. Xander Fanda's kind of keeping the gap at around just under 2 seconds to Credeo. John Jig's starting to fall off at the back of Credeo ever so slightly here at this point in the race. These 5 pulling away from Emo Guy and Duke Martin, who are continuing to battle it out over 6th and 7th places. Cheese Monkey's been reeling them in consistently over the last few laps. Nilsson there is in 9th place, obviously with Snooky coming into the pits impromptually. Nilsson getting ahead of a win zone as they pulled out 2 seconds to Windsor since getting ahead of him, so that's obviously good news there for Nielsen. Snooky though not having the race, obviously had damage on the car which has dropped him well out of the picture here in this race. This really the main battle going on out on track at the moment. No, Emo Guy and Duke Martin, they've been going at it since the word go here. Emo Guy has been consistently keeping Duke Martin at bay. It's been a good little battle here between these two. Duke Martin hasn't been able to find a way through over the course of this first stint. He's been probing and pushing and trying to force Emo Guy into a mistake, but Emo Guy hasn't really given him anything to go on at the moment. Emo Guy is just holding firm, resolutely keeping on to this P6. Cordero's taking a bit of time out of Xander Fanda over the course of that previous lap there. He gained about half a second, so I don't know if Xander Fanda made a mistake with Cordero, just had a barnstorming lap there in that BMW, but the battle's not done here for the podium spots, that is for sure. I would say it's probably more down to Cordero having a very quick lap, because he's got 2.5 seconds back to John Jig now, so Cordero really pulling out of the bag, maybe starting to get into a bit of a groove, possibly taking a bit of life out of the tyres now. Seeing as we're coming out up to the pit window, he can now afford to really take everything out of these tyres and push as hard as he can up towards this pit window, but he's really starting to get the work done here on Xander Fanda. Freeman leads by 8.5 seconds to Marty. Xander Fanda and Cordero still battling out for third and fourth. They've gapped John Jig. Emo Guy running in 6th place. He's got just under a second to Duke Martin. Cheese Monkey still continuing to reel these guys in. 3.3 seconds between Emo Guy and Duke Martin, and then Cheese Monkey. So Cheese Monkey is chipping away at that battle there, which is going on just up the road from him, but we know obviously the Emo Guy is going to be highly motivated to keep Cheese Monkey at bay, seeing as he's a team run DJC driver. So we've got lots of comments coming in on the YouTube stream at the moment. We've got JR saying that judging by the split times, it's a formality at this point. If they were to fall out after the pits, it's always a lottery. Who knows? Cheese Monkey always seems to pick up the pace after the pit stops. Hiccups have started, said Lava. Did I? I don't remember. I'm sure I didn't. Well, if you say so, but I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I don't think I did. I might have done. But Cheese Monkey's got the gap down to 2.8 here to Duke Martin. Duke Martin still running pretty close to Emo Guy, but now look at that. Cheese Monkey gained 0.8 of a second coming through that final sector there. So Cheese Monkey absolutely on a mission here in this race. But one thing to note, and this is important, JR, is that the gap between John Jig and Cheese Monkey is staying the same. It's around 12 seconds. Cheese Monkey's gaining about half a second a lap on the two ahead of him, Emo Guy and Duke Martin, but John Jig is going about the same pace as Cheese Monkey, so at this point Cheese Monkey's probably going to get ahead of Emo Guy and Duke Martin, but then after that he might have a bit too much of a task on, so yeah, who knows. Got 16 people watching the YouTube stream right now, guys. This is incredible. Please drop a like on the video if you're enjoying, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. If you want to get involved, then be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com. if you're a racer on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 and you race on ACC or Project Cars 2 or F1 2021, then come along and see what we're about. You don't have to join the leagues, but what do you have to lose by going to the website and joining the Discord server? Check out what we're about. If you don't enjoy racing or you don't think you'll be able to turn up to the races, then just chime in on the YouTube stream, check them out. There's always some great racing here on the channel. These guys, some of the cleanest, fastest sim racers on PlayStation, so you're always in for a bit of a treat if you check these guys out on the YouTube channel. Emo Guys managed to gap Duke Martin a little bit. I don't know if Duke Martin made a bit of a mistake over the course of that lap, but the gap's now over a second between those two. It's almost a second and a half between Emo Guy and Duke Martin, and Cheese Monkey now very much on the back of Duke Martin here as he's coming out onto the start finish straight for the 17th time here in this race. Lightblade says Motive Racing at its best here. Absolutely, it's just when the strategic battles are starting to develop, it's when you don't really know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. Snooky coming into the pits, first driver to make his mandatory pit stop. Unsurprising when you consider he's already been into the pits once here in this race for damage. He's kind of on a road to nowhere in this race, but he's going to get good points for 11th place. Down to the depleted field tonight means that he will score huge points for 11th, so every reason to keep going and keep pushing. There's no reason to throw in the towel here tonight, that is for sure. Duke Martin gapped Cheese Monkey a little bit coming through that first sector there, so I don't know what happened to Cheese Monkey, but the gap's now almost 2 seconds, so Cheese Monkey a bit of a sloppy sector there, needs to keep his head down and keep putting in these times because he's currently on the comeback trail and doing a really strong job here in this race. Auto Butcher has been a little bit quiet in the first stint of this race, and I think he's just sat there probably coaxing Cheese Monkey, trying to just get him back into a rhythm. He's probably a little bit busy at the moment trying to just be Cheese Monkey's head coach at the moment and just trying to get himself back into this race. So we haven't heard too much from him in the comments. I'm sure he's sat there willing his son on to absolutely deliver the goods here in this race. 8th place, as we said, not too far off of Duke Martin now. Emo Guy though starting to drive away from these guys a little bit, so maybe Emo Guy's been given the hurry up by the Team Run DJC boys in the party chat. Possibly they said to him, come on mate, look, you need to get a move on now, because Duke Martin has got Cheese Monkey all over him, and if you hang about too much, then Cheese Monkey will breeze past you. Freeman, the race leader in the pits here at the end of lap 18. That means that Marty Road Racing assumes the lead of the race. He's got a couple of seconds back to Xander Fander, now running in second. What is a net third here? Quadeo a couple of seconds off of Xander Fander, so Xander Fander's really pulled out the gap to Quadeo over the course of the last couple of laps. Quadeo is also putting out the gap to John Jig. 3.5 seconds now between those two in the battle for what will be a net 4th place once they all come into the pits. Freeman's done his pit stop. He's now at the end of the pit lane and off the limiter and on his way once again. So Freeman down the hill, continuing on his way. Cheese Monkey within 0.4 of a second of Duke Martin at the moment. Really close now between these two. Emo Guy has absolutely put the pedal down and has now absolutely left Duke Martin and Cheese Monkey here. So Emo Guy clearly has been told to get on with it, but Duke Martin here has got Cheese Monkey within 0.4 of a second of him, and Duke Martin a little bit wide there coming up the hill. Now Cheese Monkey's going to look to the inside here up towards the corkscrew, and Cheese Monkey's going to have this move done up towards the corkscrew, swoops on to the racing line there, and Cheese Monkey moves himself up into P6. Great move there from Cheese Monkey. Janetta outpowering the Aston Martin all the way up the hill into the corkscrew. What great driving here from this lad who's the reigning champion of the GT4s. Had it up against him since the beginning of this race, but he's got himself into a net P7, what is 6th place currently in this race, and he's coming into the pits here at the end of this lap. Marty and John Jig both sat in the box, both making their mandatory pit stops as well. So is Nilsson, so is Windsor, but Cheese Monkey there is pitting bang in the middle of the race, and he always goes stronger in the final stint of the race. So let's see if he can really grow into this one. Possibly he's feeling better and better as this race goes on. Maybe he's feeling worse for wear, but there's no signs of it at the moment. Looks like he's really starting to find a rhythm. Despite not feeling too good tonight, he's bringing the fight to these guys. Xander Fander still leads by a couple of seconds. Obviously once Marty and Freeman, once they come in, Freeman and Marty will jump him. Freeman's coming down a start finish straight now. Where's Marty? We're expecting Freeman to hold on to the lead of the race, and yeah, Freeman's comfortably come out, still holding the lead here. Marty second out of the pits. John Jig getting held a little bit, I think. Yeah, John Jig just coming out a little way behind, but Freeman leads Marty second in this race at the moment. And Cheese Monkey there. Cheese Monkey looks like he's gained a little bit on John Jig actually. He's definitely gained on John Jig there throughout the pit window. So Cheese Monkey's had a really strong pit stop. But what's Emo Guy going to do? Is Emo Guy going to come out ahead of Cheese Monkey once the pit stops are done? If Emo Guy can hold position, then that will be obviously advantageous for Team Run DJC. I think that Cheese Monkey hasn't changed tyres, so he's obviously going to be, he will suffer from a bit of tyre wear towards the end. But the question is, does Emo Guy stay on the same tyres and try and cover off Cheese Monkey and remain that buffer to the other guys? If he does that, then who knows what might happen here. But Ian into the pits here at the end of lap 20. Xander Fander still your leader by 2.5 seconds. At the moment Duke Martin's following Emo Guy in, so those two both pitting at the end of lap 20. Game for Life says, who are you betting on, Andy? Tough one. For the race win, Freeman, it's easy. But in terms of the championship, I'd say Cheese Monkey's still the favourite for the title. But he's had to really work to keep his status as the favourite here. He just seemed to lose the car a little bit there. He just flicked to the outside of the track. I don't know what happened there. Doesn't want to be doing that too much. DD says go Team Run DJC. Obviously DDTKU, one of the regulars here at Motive on a Sunday night in the GT3s, former racer in the Porsche Supercup as well, member of Team Run DJC. We've got Derby Bay says, how does the point system work on here? First 10 points, first get 10 points as well. No, not in this one. It's 60 points for a win, 50 for a second, 40 45, I think, for third, and 41 for fourth, something like that. I think it goes from 60 to 50 to 45 to 40 to 35 to 30 to something like that. I'm not 100% on the exact point system, but it's roughly that. I know it goes from 60 all the way down to 1. So it's quite an expansive point system. Auto Butcher says time for Cheese to put his magic gloves on. Yeah, absolutely. Cheese Monkey always seems to absolutely fly in the second half of races. He seems to find a bit of pace once we get after the pit window. So does he replicate that sort of form here? We can only wait and see. But Emo Guy has held position on Cheese Monkey. That is crucial for Team Run DJC. I think also Emo Guy might have changed tyres. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that, guys. But I think he might have done, because he was about 5 seconds ahead of Cheese Monkey before the pit window, as Cheese Monkey throws a little feint to the inside up towards turn 5. Emo Guy's not going to fall for that one. I've raced Emo Guy many a time on ACC and Project Cars too, and I tell you one thing, Ian is not going to fall down to any pressure. He does not feel pressure. I'm telling you that now. Ian does not feel pressure, so he's not going to be in the slightest bit bothered by Cheese Monkey throwing little feints to the inside or trying to do any dummies on him. Emo is just going to stand up to all of that, and Cheese Monkey's going to have to figure out another way around him if he's going to try that sort of tactic. But Emo Guy at the moment defending to the inside in towards the final corner. Xanafander and Cordero still out there. They've got to come in on this lap. They can't wait any longer, and they need to pull the trigger this time around. But Emo Guy and Cheese Monkey driving down the start-finish straight. Emo Guy knows that he's got the straight line speed advantage over Cheese Monkey, so he just needs to keep it calm through the corners, not make any mistakes. As long as he doesn't get any twitches or double takes coming out of the slower corners, he will be okay here in this race. Xanafander and Cordero both in to make their mandatory pit stops, as they would need to be at the end of this lap, otherwise they'd miss the pit window. Lightblade saying, I wonder if Cheese has changed tyres. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he did. I'm 75% sure he didn't change tyres, because he was too quick in the pit lane to have changed tyres, in my opinion. We've lost Snooky from the race. Just noticing that on the timing screen there. Snooky has retired. He's thrown in a towel here on lap 22 of the race, so that's obviously a real shame there for Snooky, but he'll take no further part here in this race. Xanafander and Cordero both in the pits, as we said before. Freeman will reassume the race lead. He's got 10 seconds of a gap over Marty. Incredible stuff here from Freeman tonight, dominating this race. Marty's going to reassume second when Xanafander and Cordero come out of the pits. Cordero's jumped Xanafander. Cordero has got the jump here on Xanafander. I don't know whether or not Cordero changed tyres. I think he might have opted to stay on the same set of tyres here, but Cordero's got ahead of Xanafander for that final podium spot, as we're about to embark on the final stint. Tyre wear at Laguna Seca. Usually a little bit high, down to the fact we're in the desert, but at this time of year I wouldn't say it'd make too many odds, so a big risk there. Well, it's still 26 degrees air temperature, but it's 26 degrees track temperature as well. The track's the same temperature as the air, because obviously in the desert, the rays of sunshine aren't quite as strong as you're lower down. Obviously, down to the fact that you're often lower than sea level in the desert. So I think that's probably the scientific explanation as to why the track temperature doesn't seem to be as in sync, or doesn't seem to be synced up in the same way. It's actually bang on in sync. The track temperature is exactly the same as the air temperature, but what I'm trying to say is that usually the track temperature is significantly higher than the air temperature. So I don't know, it could be down to the desert, the fact we're in the desert, that's why the track temperature doesn't warm up at the same level as the air. But I honestly don't know. That's just me speculating. I don't actually have a clue, to be perfectly honest with you. That's just me trying to be a scientist. But at the moment, Cheese Monkey still on the back of Emo Guy, 0.2 of a second between these two as they're coming up the hill towards the corkscrew. Emo Guy defending that inside line. There's no way around at the moment. Duke Martin's had a bit of a mare in the pit stops. He's now a long way behind Emo Guy and Cheese Monkey, so he's really lost out over the course of this pit window. But Emo Guy currently the thorn in the side of the championship leader, trying to maximise the points gained for Freeman in this championship battle. Anything can happen here in the final couple of races of the season. We're halfway through the penultimate round. We're coming towards this closing stages, really. Emo Guy, look at this. An exemplary display of defensive driving, parking his car on the inside at every possible opportunity, because he knows that Cheese Monkey, no matter how much of a good run that Ginetta gets out of any corner, he knows for a fact that Aston Martin has got so much on a straight line in comparison to the Ginetta. The Ginetta's got no chance down the straights whatsoever. And Emo Guy making not one single solitary mistake here in this final stint of the race. What fantastic driving from the Flying Scotsman, the Evil Scotsman as he likes to, as he calls himself, as we see Gianetta there a little bit wide of Cheese Monkey out onto the dirt a little bit, coming on the exit of turn 2. But at the moment, Emo Guy very much playing the team game here, as Freeman still leads by 10 seconds. Marty keeping the gap at around a couple of seconds to, sorry, not a couple of seconds even. Quadeo keeping the gap at a couple of seconds to Xandervander. Marty's got about 8 seconds back to Quadeo. But Quadeo, since getting the jump on Xandervander in the pit stops, has actually pulled away a little bit from Xandervander. I was thinking maybe Quadeo didn't change tyres, and that might be why he got the jump, but he seems to be just as quick at the moment. But then again, that tyre advantage may be more prevalent by the time we get to the end of the race. It could be that at this stage in the race it's not really just buttering any crumpets here for Xandervander, and it may start to make a difference towards the end. 5 seconds between Xandervander and John Jig. John Jig has just about to put a lap here on Windsor by the looks of it. Emo Guy still running in P6, is still keeping Cheese Monkey behind him. Cheese Monkey looking to the inside, trying to go for the gap on the inside there. Emo Guy just covering that off brilliantly. Cheese Monkey's going to try and go around the outside here at the final corner. Oh no! There's a crash there between Cheese Monkey and Emo Guy, and Emo Guy's going to have big damage on the front of that Aston Martin. Wow! Oh dear, I'd have to say maybe Cheese Monkey a little bit aggressive there. Duke Martin moves through up into 7th place. Emo Guy was just holding his ground there, to be fair. Emo Guy didn't do anything wrong in that situation, in my opinion. That's watching the live shots. I may have to watch that back again, but in my opinion, Emo Guy was just holding his ground. But in the meantime, Duke Martin's up into 7th. Emo Guy's going to have a lot more damage on his car than Cheese Monkey has on his. Cheese Monkey might have a little bit of a scratch on the front. Emo Guy is going to have some hefty damage on the front of that car, because he went absolutely bludgeoning into that tyre barrier there. So Emo Guy now, is he going to have to pit again? Is he going to be in a position where he can defend this from Duke Martin and from Cheese Monkey here? Duke Martin seems to have a much better car at the moment than Emo Guy does. You can see there the scratches on the front of that car. That is that's going to be suffering a little bit. But Duke Martin there wide out of turn 5, and Cheese Monkey's going to swoop up the inside and pick up that 7th place there. Duke Martin getting ever so out of shape. Oh no, he's in the wall. Duke Martin's in the wall there on the exit of turn 5 up the hill, and he gets this bump round back in time, but that's gone horribly wrong there for the Aston, the number 6. Emo Guy still just a little bit ahead of Cheese Monkey at the moment, but Duke Martin now well and truly out of that battle. The big question is, what sort of damage has Emo Guy got on the front of that Aston Martin? If it's not too bad, he might be alright. He might be able to continue on as he is. Who knows, really? Lightblade says Andy Hawkins. I don't get it. JR says Emo Guy might be on the new pedals. Team DDC admin warehouse supplied by Chris Pissock. Snooky says, just not my night tonight, wrong fuel load in, followed by a bit of damage, don't want to hinder anyone. That's unfortunate there to lose you tonight, mate, but understandable. Hope to catch you in the next one. We got SMT Maroon in the comments, says hi Andy, again great commentating, cheers mate, thank you. Also SMT Maroon getting a support in for Quadeo. Yeah, I know mate, I know. Auto Butcher says no. And JR says Emo did not move over, maybe Cheese got loose. Emo doesn't drive like that. I was saying, yeah, I called it at the time, I said Emo Guy didn't do anything wrong there. It looked to me like Cheese Monkey may have caused that incident, but I don't know. Again, I'm going to have to watch it back. In fact, let me just, as in Stephen Hawkins. Do you know what? I thought the same thing as you. It's actually not Stephen Hawkins. Now, this is kind of a funny one, because I thought that as well. I thought throughout my whole childhood that his name was Stephen Hawkins, and I found out a year or so ago it's actually Hawking. So it's not Hawkins, it's Hawking, as in like hawking, you know, like as in doing an impression of a hawk. I'm hawking around. Yeah, that's one fact that I was absolutely bamboozled by about a year or so ago. I found that out way too late in life. But yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about there. Stephen Hawkins. Yeah, I was trying to be a bit of a scientist and failing epically. I'm just watching back the incident between Emo Guy and Cheese Monkey. So Cheese Monkey tries to go around the outside. Emo Guy leaves him a car's width on the outside on the curb, and then Cheese Monkey got loose on the curb coming out of the corner and just T-boned into the side of him. And that little move there has given Cheese Monkey 6th place. So I think there might be a steward's inquiry coming in after this. Cheese Monkey will probably get a 10-pointer for that. Just looking at that, looking at the live pictures there, I'm just going to try and fill the viewers in as much as I can, just so there's clarity here. I think there's a very high chance that Cheese Monkey will get a 10-pointer for that, because although it was just hard racing, he got loose on the curb and ultimately put Emo Guy in the wall. So I think if Emo Guy puts an inquiry on that one, that'll be a 10-pointer. If that were to be the case at this point, that will only close the championship gap even more. And what I'm doing here is I'm not saying, I'm not sort of siding against Cheese Monkey here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just provide a bit of transparency to the viewers so they know exactly what to expect or what the score is in this situation. Just looking at that, I've done a bit of work on the stewards team here at Motive, and I know how these things usually go. So, but we'll see anyway. We'll see. But at this point in the race anyway, we're sort of coming towards the final 20 minutes of the race. We've got Raki there, says, evening all, are you guys full in discussion? What happened? Cheese Monkey and Emo Guy had a bit of a collision. Emo Guy's dropped back because of the damage that he got on the car. Cheese Monkey not feeling very well tonight. As we said, he turned up to the race, did a great job of putting it in P5 in quali. The start of the race has been a nightmare for him, and he's been on a really strong comeback trail over the course of this one. He's got himself up into P6, had a bit of a collision with Emo Guy. I think there might be a stewards inquiry coming in from some parties of the team around DJC camp, but I don't know for sure yet. I'm just trying to call it as it goes, because I want people to kind of like know what to expect going into that final race of the season next week. But that's just how I called it at the time. JR reckons that you can't put in requests if you're a reserve. That's not a rule. No, anybody can put in an inquiry. It's about clean racing. Anybody can put in a stewards inquiry. But Dee says, JR, I'm okay. Couple of weeks in Norway, work things. How are you? Also got Auto Butcher says, looked like he got loose, sadly, loaded up on the right side of the car while on the curb. Yeah, that was exactly what it was, really. It could be chalked down to a racing incident, but I think it would be quite harsh on Emo Guy if that were to be ruled as a racing incident, because to be fair, he did absolutely nothing wrong in that situation. It's more just like, you know, Emo Guy was doing a good defensive job, and ultimately Cheese Monkey's a very clean and fair racer, and I don't dispute that in any way, shape or form. I just think it's I don't know, it's just as JR says, it's sport a good battle there with you know, the fact that there was contact. But Dee saying hi to Raki. Like they said, it would be sad to see a championship decided by the stewards. If there is an inquiry, I hope they are easy on him. Yeah, no, so do I. It was, you know, it wouldn't be nice to see a championship decided. He's got a big lead in the championship at the moment as Cheese Monkey, so at the moment he's got the ascendancy very much here in this battle. And yeah, hopefully he can keep chipping away in this race. He's got 20 seconds up the road to John Jig at this point, so it would be a big task for him to get himself in the top 5 here. But 6th place nonetheless. We'll see what the stewards make of that incident there with Emo Guy. But I just don't want to be, you know, the last thing I want to be is acting like everything's rosy and nice when, you know, there's actually a, you know, a possible backstory to the whole thing. You know, I'd obviously just want to be as transparent as possible on these streams, and, you know, let the viewers know what could be happening. But at this point, Freeman leads the race by over 11 seconds to Marty Road Racing. Quadera running in 3rd place. He's 20 seconds off of the lead. You've got Xanafana within a second of Quadera at the moment as they're coming down the hill in towards turn 1. John Jig there in 5th place is 10 seconds off of the back of those two who are battling out for the final podium spot. As we said before, he's got a big gap back to Cheese Monkey. Emo Guy running in 7th place here in this race. But yeah, JR says that he thinks that Emo will put a ticket in if need be. The thing is, yeah, you're absolutely right. Cheese Monkey's got a massive lead in the championship. I think, in all honesty, you know, looking at the footage, if I'm brutally honest, I think it should be a penalty, but that's just my opinion. And you know, it's not. It could. I don't know. It won't be up to me because I'm obviously the commentator on the series. But hey, look. If they were tied on points, or if Freeman was leading the championship, I would be inclined to sort of draw a line under it and say, look, you know, it might ruin the championship battle. It's not needed, especially when Emo Guy isn't in the championship and is a reserve. But Emo Guy was sat there playing the team game for Freeman, and ultimately that bit of contact has given Emo Guy damage, which has completely dropped him out of his position where he could defend for Freeman. So I think that maybe Cheese Monkey has gained points from that collision, and that's ultimately the reason why I'm suggesting is because he's gained points because of that collision. He's benefited from that crash. So to me, even though he gave the position back, I think that he's benefited massively due to the damage that Emo Guy would have had from going straight into the wall straight afterwards. But JR says would have liked to see them fight it out. Gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them. Lapid says, you know what it's like when that visor goes down. Yeah, for sure. Your blinkers go on. You know, there's nothing else matters. You just block everything out, and all you focus on is the racing. I know exactly what you mean, mate. JL says True Racer keeps his foot in there, but he ran off the track in the end and should have gotten out of it. Yep. Again, we'll leave it to after the race. I've said too much on the stream, and I shouldn't really be saying as much as I am. I just want it to be clear, you know, with the fact that there is a championship on the line. I don't know, maybe a 10-point penalty would be harsh, but I think probably a 5-pointer would be right. Just when you combine the collision and you combine the damage done to Emo Guy and the fact that it gave him the place, I think, you know, it would be a fair, I don't know, we're going to have to obviously wait and see. You know, I shouldn't be talking about it too much on the stream. Ultimately should be a matter that's dealt with behind closed doors, but I just like to be able to put the point across. More Temperature says, if Emo wasn't there, Cheese would have spun. Shame that Emo hit the wall. Yeah, absolutely. Lightbay says, sad to see, but that's racing. It is. You know, these things do happen in racing, and you know, hopefully the stewards' inquiry will not be too harsh. When you consider that the championship's on the line, I think that a light penalty would probably be the right way forward. I don't know, it's either going to be a 5 or a 10-pointer, but hopefully for Cheese Monkey that it is a lighter one. And obviously the Freeman's going to close the gap anyway, but here we are then anyway. So final 10 minutes of the race, Quadeo leads by leads the battle for the final podium spot ahead of Zanderfander by 1.4. Freeman's still leading the race. He's 12 seconds clear of the man in second place, Marty Road Racing. It's a team run, DJC 1-2 at the moment. Lightblade says, slap on the wrist for me, racing incident. Yeah, I tend to agree, and I think maybe our stewarding system could do for a bit of a revamp. I've been saying this for a little while, to be fair. It actually brings me to the point, and this will obviously not be relevant to this particular instance, because you know you have to uphold the letter of the law, you know, relevant to the time when that law was introduced. So but there's one thing that I think maybe the motive point system or steward system could do with overhauling is, I think that there should be points for on a driver's license, you know, like a actual driver's license. 3, 6, 9 and then 12 is a revoke of your license, and I think that should be separate from the points that you lose in your championship for collisions. So say like you get a 10-point penalty for causing a collision, you get a 10-point deduction. I think that there should be some kind of, say for example when there's a racing incident, or you know there's a crash where a driver is clearly at fault, but it's like worthy of a reprimand rather than an actual penalty itself, then I think that maybe we could do with a system where, say you get 2 points on your license or something like that, 1 or 2 points on your license, and then once you get to 12 points it's revoked. I know another league that I race in on a Thursday night on Project Cars do a similar system, and it works quite well. You don't get docked any championship points, you just get points on your license, and then obviously once you get to, like, you know, 3 points, 6 points, 9 points, you get ever closer to that point where you're going to get it revoked, then you obviously start to be more careful, and it serves as a bit of an incentive to be a bit more careful on the track. If you are aggressive, then it serves as a reminder that you've got to keep a lid on it. But I think definitely a system like that could be used here at Motive, and it's something that I've been thinking for a little while and will probably introduce for next season. So we've got JR anyway saying 2 cars went into wall. That's not racing. You can not say that Emo would not be stood in front defending right now with that crash. He has damage 100%. That's what I think. I think the Emo guy, knowing the kind of driver that Emo guy is, and knowing that he was in the Aston Martin compared to Cheese Monkey in the Ginetta, I know for a fact that Emo guy is more than capable, and would have been more than capable of holding on to that position all the way to the flag. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that he would have been able to stay in front. Whether or not he would have is a different question, but I know that he could have been able to. He might have been passed, he might have made a mistake, maybe Cheese Monkey would have forced him into a mistake and would have got the position done. But you know, I know that there's just as much of a chance that Emo guy would have held on all the way to the end, but you just don't know, do you? It's a difficult one to call. Novel Honk chiming in on the stream for the first time tonight says, I'd say racing incident as well. Cheese was alongside Emo already. He had the rights to stay where he was. It's not so much that, Novel Honk. If you watch it back carefully, you'll see that Emo guy actually did leave him more than a car's width on the outside, and you know, there is runoff out of that last corner. Emo guy did leave him space, and it was actually Cheese Monkey that lost it on the curb. If you watch it back again, you'll see that Cheese Monkey lost control of the curb as he was running over the curb on the right hand side. He lost control and then T-boned into Emo guy. It wasn't a case of it wasn't a case of he had a right to be there. He had every right to be there, but he actually lost it and went into Emo guy. If you watch it back, you'll be able to see the incident. That's not the point of contention. The point of contention is, should it be a snap on the wrist or a penalty? And that's ultimately what the stewards are going to have to decide, and it's going to have to be one man who will not be involved in these stewards' inquiry is Freeman, because Freeman obviously a championship contender, the man who could benefit enormously from all of this. So Freeman will not be consulted in terms of this in any way, shape or form. Obviously what we'll do, the procedure will be now is we will obviously get in touch with Cheese Monkey and we'll ask him for his onboard footage. We'll ask him, we'll give him every opportunity to exonerate himself for what's happened, and you know, if there are any circumstances which do come tonight, any onboard footage which might exonerate him, then obviously hopefully we will be able to draw a line under it and potentially chalk it off as a racing incident. That's what we all want to see in this situation, ultimately. But 5 minutes left to go into this race. We just see Cheese Monkey there putting a lap on Nilsson, and Nilsson very obliging there, moving well out of the way. Lightblade says, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. No, that's absolutely, mate. But if you no longer see from Imagai's point of view, you could say, if you get T-boned when you're trying to defend a position, maybe it just takes the fun out of racing. That's what Emo Guy might be saying in this situation, you know. So it depends which way you look at it. It depends which side of it you're looking at it from. JR says that's a good way to deal with championship decisions. Take the guys fighting out of the convo. No biased views. Absolutely, the stewards' inquiries will be completely unbiased. There will be, just because Freeman's a coordinator, that will have absolutely no impact on it. We'll ask Cheese Monkey for his onboard. We'll ask Emo Guy if he has any onboard footage, and if neither of them have any onboard footage, then ultimately we'd have to go off of the stream. And from that point of view, I've already said my piece, but we'll have to wait and see. But Freeman still leads the race. He's got a pretty substantial gap here over Marty Road Racing right now, and is looking to take yet another win here in this GT4 series. Freeman continuing to do the bits here this season. What a season it has been for him. And he's going to close the gap once again to Cheese Monkey. The gap before this 58 points. As it stands here in this race, it's going to be 34 points between the two of them. Going into the next round, the final round at Kyle Army, 34 points will be the gap between them. That's obviously pending any stewards' inquiries that might come in on Cheese Monkey at this point. But it could all add to the drama and excitement leading into the final race of the season. And you know what, the last thing that I want to see is the championship decided in the stewards room. But I wouldn't say that the championship being kept a little bit on tenterhooks due to a steward's decision would be such a bad thing. But then again, you know, you don't want to see it decided because the steward's inquiry. But then on the other hand, you know, you don't want to see the sort of collisions that we saw between Cheese Monkey and Emo Guy. I think personally that a five pointer would be the right penalty, just down to the fact that that's how many points he gained by the collision with Emo Guy. I think that would be fair as fair, eye for an eye, in my opinion. But we'll see what the stewards say on the matter anyway, as we've got Xander all over the back of Cordero here, coming in towards the final corner. 0.2 of a second between these two as they're coming out onto the start-finish straight now. I feel like Freeman has gone under the radar tonight. He's been mighty since lap 1. Too much going on in the mid-pack, 100%. There's been lots of action going on. 100 comments tonight, guys. Thank you very much. I just saw that one come in. 100th comment of the night. Shout out to every single one of you. As always, the GT4 fans here at Motive on ACC. Lightblade says, if I were Cheese's position, I would have done the same. But then again, I would have probably done the same as Emo too. The controversy is good for us fans. If we win, I know the lads on track want to dedicate the win to Cod and his family. Absolutely, JR, 100% echo those sentiments. And what a job Freeman and Marty have done. 1 and 2, they've dominated the race. Freeman more so, but you know, Marty 10 seconds clear of Cordeo. And I want to say another massive shout out to Kodalungu and to his family, going through a horrible time at the moment. Obviously they've lost a family member tonight. I'm not sure which member of Cod's family it is that he's lost, but I know that they're obviously experiencing, you know, a lot of heartache tonight. And a huge shout out to Cod. He couldn't race with us tonight, as you would expect, and it's unsurprising really. But our thoughts are with Kodalungu and his family at this time, and hopefully, mate, if you are watching, or if you are watching this back after at a later date, then you know, we've brought a smile to your face seeing these guys, your teammates, doing such a great job, and the comments coming in. But yeah, obviously massive condolences to you, to yourself and to your family at this time. Lightblade there saying 100% dedicate this whole epic race to him and his family. Couldn't agree more on that one, Lightblade. As we've got Freeman coming around the final half a lap here of this race, and he's got a big lead at the moment over Marty. He's just about to put a lap here on Windsor by the looks of it. You see Windsor in the foreground, just coming out of turn 5 up the hill. Duke Martin's coming into the pits here on the final lap, so I don't know what's going on there. Oh, he's got damage on the front, but it's a bit of a strange one coming into the pits because as we say, it's very near the end of the race, so not sure really why he's coming into the pits anyway. But Freeman in towards the corkscrew for the final time. Auto Butcher says, regardless of the steward's decision, I will chuck Cheese down the stairs. Oh god. That just reminds me of that dad from Mr. Deeds. If anybody's seen the film Mr. Deeds, where that football player's dad smacks him in the face. I don't know, just reminded me of that. But Freeman in towards the final corner as he's about to finish the race. Freeman is going to take the checker flag. A flash the lights here from the man in second place in the championship. He closes the gap to Cheese Monkey there in the standings. What a race here from Freeman, absolutely dominant from the lights to flags. Marty coming out of the final corner, and it's going to be a second place for Marty Road Racing as he comes over to complete a team run. DJC 1-2. JR is going to be pretty chuffed with that, I'm sure. Cordeo coming out of the final corner. It's going to be a third place finish here for Cordeo. A good podium spot here for him. Managed to come out on top of Xander Flander in that battle there. They had a good little battle in the mid part of the race, but Xander Flander dropped off towards the end. And Xander Flander comes over in fourth place. John Jig coming into the final corner, and it's going to be a fifth place finish here for John Jig. A little way behind the top, the podium fighters in the end. Over the line comes John Jig to complete the race. A good result nonetheless. Some good points there for his championship. We got Cheese Monkey, the championship leader. Damaged invitation tonight. He said earlier in the afternoon he wasn't sure if he'd be racing. He's not feeling the best, and he's just risen to the occasion here. What a job from a reigning champion. when you consider that he was contemplating even racing tonight, you cannot fault the lad for the way that he's driven. Really, really well done to you, Cheese Monkey. Thanks for jumping in, and thanks for turning out tonight. Emo guy coming into the final corner. It's going to be a P7. It says P6, but it's going to be a P7 because obviously somebody's jumped out since the end of the race. Emo guy comes over to take 7th place. Nilsson there in 8th, wins in 9th. Duke Martin completing the classification in P10, followed by Snooky in 11th place. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen, for round 11 of the GT4s here at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Freeman and Marty getting a team run DJC 1-2 in honour of their friend Kodalungu, who's not been able, well, obviously wasn't able to turn out tonight, down to the fact that down to a family matter, down to the fact that the passing away of a relative. So obviously unsurprising that Kodalungu wasn't with us tonight, but Freeman and Marty doing the business for Team Run DJC. Cordeo completing the podium, Xanafan 4th, John Jig 5th, Cheese Monkey in 6th, Emo Guy 7th, Nilsson 8th, wins the 9th, Duke Martin completing the top 10, and Snooky retired a long way out. It's got a few comments coming in here at the end of that race. Lightblade says Freeman for the win. Let's go Freeman and Marty. Big love to Emo and all the GT4 lads who showed up and raced, says JR. Auto Butcher says well done Freeman and all drivers. GG everyone, says Didi. JR says would love to hear what the standings are next round and the inquiries, if any. Congrats everyone. Cheers JR, thanks for that mate, appreciate that man. Lightblade says absolutely epic race. Thank you very much for that mate. Pete Bibb says go Duke, sorry I couldn't make it tonight, hope you had a good one. Congratulations to Freeman and podium finishers. Cheers Didi. Thanks Novel Honk, says that was quite a race today, well done. Thank you very much man. We will see you in the next one guys. Join us for the season finale. It will be going down to the wire. The championship's still on the line. The gap is either going to be 34 points or it might be a little bit less depending on the inquiries in between now and next week. Stay tuned, keep your eyes and ears peeled out on the Discord server. There will be an announcement in the stewards inquiries section in the coming days. Either way, whether or not it's a racing incident, no further action, or a points penalty, we will get back to you on that one guys. But thanks everyone so much, and we will see you in the next one. Have a great evening.